The sound of paper shredding echoed through our kitchen as I stood frozen in the doorway. My mother, Elizabeth Preston, was feeding my college acceptance letters into the shredder, a satisfied smile playing on her perfectly painted lips. "Mom, what are you doing?" My voice cracked, watching 4 years of hard work disappear into confetti. She looked up, not a hint of remorse in her steel-gray eyes. "Saving you from yourself, Alexandra. Girls like you don't need education. Your job is to marry well, like I did." I rushed forward, trying to save what remained. But it was too late. Harvard, Yale, Princeton, all gone. Only fragments remained, showing glimpses of congratulations and full scholarship. Those were my letters. I screamed, my hands shaking as I tried to piece together the shreds. "I worked so hard for these." "Oh, please," she scoffed, brushing perfectly manicured hands against her designer dress. Working as a library assistant after school, maintaining that ridiculous 4.0 GPA, all those extra classes. That's not the life I want for my daughter. You're pretty, Alexandra. Use that instead of wasting time with books. I felt my world crumbling. At 18, I'd spent my entire high school career preparing for college. While other girls went to parties, I studied. When my friends were dating, I was taking advanced placement courses. My father had always encouraged my dreams before he passed away 3 years ago. But since then, Mom had become increasingly controlling, determined to mold me into her version of the perfect society daughter. "I got a full ride to Harvard," I whispered, tears streaming down my face. "Do you know how rare that is? And what would you do there?" she demanded, lighting a cigarette. "Meet some poor academic? Become one of those tired-looking professional women? No, you'll thank me later. I've already arranged for you to meet James Harrison's son. His family has real money, Alexandra. That's the future you need." James Harrison Jr., the thought made me sick. He was 35, twice divorced, and known for his wandering hands at society functions. But his family owned half the real estate in our city, and to my mother, that made him perfect son-in-law material. "I'm not marrying James," I stated firmly, gathering the shredded remains of my dreams. "And you had no right to destroy my letters." Her hand struck fast, the slap echoing in our marble kitchen. "Don't take that tone with me. I'm your mother. I know what's best." I touched my stinging cheek, suddenly seeing her clearly. The perfect makeup couldn't hide the bitter lines around her mouth, the emptiness in her eyes. She'd married for money at 19, spent her life playing society wife, and now she was determined to force me down the same path. "Dad would have supported me," I said quietly. Her face darkened. "Your father filled your head with ridiculous notions. Look where his academic career got him. Dead at 45 with nothing but a professor's pension. But he died doing what he loved, teaching literature at the local university. He'd left me his love of learning, his books, and his belief that education could open any door." I turned away, heading to my room. Behind me, I heard her call out, "The Harrisons are coming for dinner tonight. Wear the blue dress. James likes blue." In my room, I pulled out my phone with trembling hands. I had digital copies of all my acceptance letters saved in my email. But when I logged in, my heart sank. The account had been wiped clean. Of course, Mom knew my password. She'd thought of everything. I sat on my bed, surrounded by the shredded papers that represented my future, and made a decision. I wouldn't become my mother. I wouldn't let her destroy everything I'd worked for. Opening my laptop, I began composing emails to every university that had accepted me, explaining my situation. I attached copies of my transcripts, which I thankfully stored on a hidden USB drive, and my SAT scores. "Please," I wrote, "I know this sounds incredible, but I can provide documentation of my previous acceptance. I just need another chance." As I hit send on the last email, my mother's voice floated up from downstairs. "Alexandra, the Harrisons will be here in an hour. Start getting ready." I looked at myself in the mirror, seeing the red mark on my cheek where she'd slapped me. In that moment, I made a promise to myself. This wasn't over. One way or another, I would find my way to college. I would make my father proud. What I didn't know then was that tomorrow would bring a phone call that would change everything. The next morning, I woke up with a splitting headache and the memory of last night's disastrous dinner. James Harrison Jr. had spent the entire evening staring at my chest while my mother beamed approvingly. When he tried to corner me in the hallway, his breath heavy with scotch, I'd accidentally spilled my water on his designer suit. "You embarrassed me," Mom had screamed after they left. "Do you know how hard I worked to arrange this? I was contemplating my limited options while getting ready for my library shift when my phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello, is this Alexandra Preston?" A warm, authoritative voice asked. "Yes, this is she. This is Dean Sarah Morrison from Harvard University. We received your email late last night, and I must say, it's quite concerning." My heart stopped. I hadn't actually expected anyone to respond so quickly. "I have your original acceptance letter right here," she continued. "Full academic scholarship, impressive recommendations, particularly from Dr. Williams regarding your research assistance in the Library Sciences Department. Would you mind explaining exactly what happened?" I took a deep breath and told her everything. The shredded letters, the wiped email account, my mother's plans for my future. To my surprise, my voice didn't shake. "Unfortunately, Ms. Preston, this isn't the first time we've encountered this situation. Some parents struggle with the idea of their children choosing different paths." My hopes started to fade. This was her polite way of saying there was nothing they could do. "However," she continued, "your case is unique. Dr. Williams called me personally this morning after receiving your email. He spoke very highly of your work ethic and potential. We've decided to reissue your acceptance package, this time directly to your workplace address." I sank to the floor, tears streaming down my face. "Really?" "Really," Dean Morrison confirmed. "Additionally, given your circumstances, we'd like to offer you early housing accommodation. Our summer program begins in 3 weeks. Would that help?" 3 weeks? I could be out of here in 3 weeks. "Yes," I whispered. "Yes, that would help more than you know." After hanging up, I sat there trembling, possibilities suddenly stretching out before me. But I knew my mother wouldn't let me go easily. I needed a plan. Over the next 2 weeks, I worked extra shifts at the library, secretly saving every penny. Dr. Williams, understanding my situation, helped me arrange my affairs quietly. I applied for an emergency passport, gathered my important documents from our family lawyer, who'd been my father's friend, and packed a small bag with essentials. My mother remained blissfully unaware, focused on arranging more dinners with the Harrisons. "James is willing to overlook your little water incident," she'd say. "You're lucky he's so understanding." Then, exactly 16 days after Dean Morrison's call, my new acceptance package arrived at the library. Inside was everything I needed: acceptance letter, scholarship confirmation, housing assignment, and most importantly, a one-way plane ticket to Boston. That evening, I waited until my mother took her usual sleeping pill before quietly carrying my pre-packed bag downstairs. On the kitchen counter, I left a note. "Mom, by the time you read this, I'll be on my way to Harvard. I'm not asking for your blessing because I know you won't give it, but I am telling you that I choose education. I choose the future Dad always wanted for me. Don't try to stop me. By the time you wake up, I'll already be gone. Alexandra." I stepped out into the pre-dawn darkness, Dr. Williams waiting in his car as promised to drive me to the airport. As we pulled away from the house that had become my prison, I felt something inside me shift. "Your father would be incredibly proud," Dr. Williams said quietly, glancing at me in the rearview mirror. "He always said you had his love of learning and your own brand of courage." I watched my childhood home disappear behind us, thinking about my father's favorite quote: "Education is not preparation for life. Education is life itself." My mother's words echoed in my head. "Girls like you don't need education." She was wrong. Girls like me didn't just need education, we deserved it. We would fight for it. And sometimes we would have to escape in the early morning hours to claim it. As the sun began to rise, painting the sky in shades of promise, I touched the acceptance letter in my pocket. In a few hours, I would be in Boston, starting the life I'd worked so hard to achieve. My mother might have destroyed the original letters, but she couldn't destroy my determination. This was just the beginning. 3 years later, I stood in Harvard's main library, shelving books during my work-study shift, when a familiar voice froze me in place. "Alexandra." I turned slowly to find my mother standing there, looking exactly as I remembered: perfectly coiffed hair, expensive clothes, and that disapproving frown I'd grown up with. "How did you find me?" I asked, gripping the book cart for support. "Money finds anything, dear." She glanced around the library with disdain. "So this is what you chose over a comfortable life? Dusty books and minimum wage?" I straightened my spine. At 21, I wasn't the same scared 18-year-old who fled in the night. I'm graduating summa cum laude next month. I've already been accepted into the master's program for library science with a full scholarship. And what about James? Do you know he married that awful Peterson girl? That could have been you, living in their mansion, wanting for nothing. I thought about James Harrison Jr.'s recent divorce announcement in the society pages, his third failed marriage. I want for nothing now, Mom. I have everything I need. Really? She raised an eyebrow. That shabby apartment you share with 2 other students? Those second-hand clothes? She waved her hand dismissively at the library job. Before I could respond, a voice called out, "Alex, the dean needs a presentation for tomorrow's library board meeting." Dr. Sarah Morrison, who become my mentor over the past 3 years, approached us. Recognition flickered in her eyes as she saw my mother. "Mrs. Preston," she said coolly, "I'm Dean Morrison. We spoke on the phone 3 years ago about Alexandra's acceptance letter, or rather, what remained of it." My mother's face tightened. "You had no right to interfere in family matters. Actually, we had every right to protect a promising student." The dean smiled. "Alexandra has just been awarded the Preston Memorial Scholarship." My mother's perfectly plucked eyebrows drew together. "Preston Memorial?" "Yes," Dr. Morrison continued, "named after her father. Alexandra's research proposal on modernizing library sciences caught the board's attention. She'll be presenting it tomorrow to the library board and potential donors." I watched the information sink in. My mother had always measured success in terms of social status and marriage prospects, but here was proof of a different kind of achievement, one that honored my father's memory and everything he believed in. "I'm not the failure you think I am, Mom," I said quietly. "I'm just successful in ways you never understood." She stared at me for a long moment, something shifting in her expression. "Your father," she said finally, "he would have loved this life you've built." For the first time in years, I heard a tremor in her voice. "He would have," I agreed. "He always said education was the greatest adventure." "I was wrong," she whispered, so softly I almost missed it. "When I destroyed those letters, I was terrified you'd leave, become someone I didn't recognize. But you did anyway, didn't you? You became someone stronger." Tears pricked my eyes. "Mom." "No, let me finish." She squared her shoulders. "I came here today to demand you come home, to tell you this foolishness had gone on long enough. But seeing you here," she gestured to the library, "my sanctuary for the past 3 years. You belong here in a way you never belonged in our world." Dr. Morrison discreetly stepped away, leaving us alone among the towering bookshelves. "I'm presenting my research tomorrow," I said. "You could stay, if you want to see what I've been working on." My mother touched one of the books on my cart, running her finger along its spine. "Your father used to do that same thing," she said softly. "He loved the feel of books." She took a deep breath. "What time is your presentation?" 10 a.m., in the main conference room." She nodded, then turned to leave. At the end of the aisle, she paused. "Alexandra, I'm proud of you, even if I don't understand this world you've chosen." After she left, I stood there among my beloved books, thinking about the journey that had brought me here. 3 years ago, I'd fled in the night, carrying nothing but a bag of clothes and shattered dreams. Now I had a future I'd built myself, brick by brick, book by book. The next morning, as I prepared to present my research, I looked out at the audience. There in the back row sat my mother, wearing a Yale sweatshirt she must have bought from the campus store. When our eyes met, she smiled, not her usual society smile, but something real and a little bit broken and healing, like us. Sometimes, I realized, the happy ending isn't about fixing everything that was broken. Sometimes it's about building something new from the pieces, something stronger and more beautiful than before. Hey there, I'm Melissa. Growing up in suburban Ohio with my twin brother, Henry, was a mix of chaos and camaraderie. Thankfully, we're not identical because, honestly, I don't think the world could handle 2 of him. We've always been close, sharing everything from our wildest secrets to our biggest dreams. One day, Henry burst into my room, waving an envelope excitedly. "Melissa, check this out." My heart raced as I snatched it from his hands. "No way, yours too." We tore open our college acceptance letters together, screaming with joy when we realized we'd both been accepted into Willow Creek University, a prestigious school known for its top-notch business program. "We did it, sis," Henry shouted, lifting me off the ground in a bear hug. "Put me down, you goof," I laughed, playfully swatting his arm. Our parents were over the moon. They had been saving for our college fund since we were in diapers. But Willow Creek was expensive, and their savings weren't quite enough to cover it all. "We'll make it work," Dad reassured us over dinner. "We can take out some loans and you two can pitch in what you can." I nodded seriously. "I can pick up more shifts at the diner." Henry rolled his eyes. "Come on, Melissa, little. We've got our whole lives to work." That was classic Henry, always living in the moment while I was busy hustling at the diner. He was out with his friends, constantly dreaming up get-rich-quick schemes. "I'm telling you, Melissa," he'd say, lounging on my bed as I counted my tips. "One of these days, I'm going to come up with an idea that'll make us millionaires." "Sure, Henry," I'd reply, not even looking up, "and pigs will fly." Despite our differences, I was thrilled to start this new chapter with him. The night before we left for college, we stayed up late, reminiscing about old times. "Remember when we convinced Mrs. Johnson we were telepathic?" Henry laughed. I snorted. "Yeah, until you sneezed and blew our cover." "Hey, at least I didn't rat you out for putting glue in Bobby Taylor's hair gel," he retorted. "He deserved it," I shot back. "He was a jerk to you." Henry's smile softened. "You've always had my back, Melissa." "Someone's got to keep you out of trouble," I teased. The next morning was a whirlwind of last-minute packing and tearful goodbyes. Mom hugged us tightly, dabbing at her eyes. "Look out for each other," she said. Dad clapped us on the shoulders. "We're proud of you too. Make the most of this opportunity." As we drove away, watching our childhood home disappear in the rearview mirror, I felt a mix of excitement and fear. Henry must have sensed it because he reached over and squeezed my hand. "We've got this, sis," he said confidently. "The Harrison twins are going to take Willow Creek by storm." Little did I know how true those words would turn out to be, just not in the way either of us expected. College life hit like a whirlwind. One minute, I was unpacking in my dorm, and the next, I was drowning in coursework. But something felt off with Henry. He'd always been a social butterfly, but this was different. "Hey bro, want to grab dinner?" I asked, poking my head into his room. "Can't. Meeting Direct to discuss some ideas." I frowned. "Direct again?" "He's got some killer business concepts, Melissa. You should hear them." I shrugged it off. Maybe this was Henry's way of coping with the college transition. Meanwhile, I was making my own connections. My roommate Jasmine was a riot. "Girl, you need to loosen up," she'd say, dragging me to campus events. That's how I met Tyler from my econ class. "Melissa, right?" he asked, flashing a smile. "Want to partner up for the project?" Between study sessions with Tyler and late-night chats with Jasmine, I almost forgot about Henry's odd behavior. Almost. Then, one night, I overheard him on the phone. "Yeah, Derek, I'm telling you, this is going to be huge. We just need more capital." Alarm bells rang in my head. The next day, I tried to talk to him. "Henry, is everything okay? You've been acting weird." He brushed me off. "Just stressed about midterms. Don't worry about it." But I did worry, especially when I logged into our joint tuition account to check the balance for next semester. My heart sank. "Henry." I burst into his room, waving my phone. "Where's half our tuition money?" His face went pale. "Melissa, I can explain. You better start talking, now." He sighed, running a hand through his hair. "Direct and we had this amazing business idea. A startup that could revolutionize campus food delivery. We just needed some initial investment." I felt sick. "So you took our tuition money without even asking me?" I snapped. "It's not like that," Henry protested. "It's an investment. We'll make it back tenfold, I swear." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Are you insane? That money isn't yours to gamble with." "It's not gambling," he insisted. "Derek's got connections. He knows what he's doing." "Oh, and you know him so well after what, 2 months?" I shot back. Henry's eyes flashed with anger. "You don't understand business, Melissa. This is how fortunes are made." "No, this is how idiots get scammed." We argued for hours, with Henry insisting it wasn't a big deal and that the returns would come in before the next tuition payment was due. But I couldn't shake the dread gnawing at my gut. The next day, I confided in Jasmine and Tyler. "He did what?" Jasmine exclaimed. "Oh hell no, that's messed up." Tyler looked thoughtful. "You know, I've heard some rumors about this Direct guy. Nothing concrete, but..." "What kind of rumors?" I pressed. He shrugged. Just that he talks a big game, but no one's ever seen real results from his ventures. My mind raced. Was Henry being played, or was he in on some kind of scam? What are you going to do? Jasmine asked, concern in her voice. I took a deep breath. I don't know, but I'm going to find out what's really going on with this Derek character. And Henry, he's got some serious explaining to do. That night, I lay in bed, unable to sleep. How had things gone so wrong so fast? Henry and I had always been a team, but now it felt like he'd chosen Derek over me, over our future. One thing was clear. I needed to get to the bottom of this fast before it was too late. The next day, I cornered Tyler after class, practically begging for his help. You're good with computers, right? Think you can dig up some dirt on Derek? Tyler's eyes lit up. Challenge accepted. Give me a day or two. Meanwhile, Jasmine was all in. My uncle works in financial crimes. I'll see what he can find out. We set up camp in my dorm room, papers, laptops, and energy drinks scattered everywhere. It was like a scene out of a crime show, minus the cool sound effects. Look at this, Tyler said, pointing at his screen. Derek's been involved in at least 3 failed startups in the last 2 years. Jasmine chimed in, and my uncle says there's a pattern of complaints about unpaid debts. The deeper we dug, the worse it got. Fake business documents, empty promises, the works. Derek was a walking, talking scam machine. When I confronted Henry, he went full denial mode. You're just jealous, he snapped. Derek's a visionary. You don't understand his methods. Methods? I scoffed. Is that what we're calling fraud now? But as the evidence piled up, even Henry couldn't ignore it. The final straw was a recorded phone call Tyler managed to get, a clip of Derek bragging about how easy it was to scam dumb college kids. Henry's face crumbled as he listened. I can't believe it. How could I have been so stupid? I wanted to say I told you so, but the devastated look on his face stopped me. Instead, I just hugged him. We'll figure this out, I promised. But first, we need to stop Derek before he scams anyone else. We gathered all the evidence and took it to the campus police. Officer Martinez listened intently, her frown deepening with each new piece we presented. This is serious, she said. We'll need to involve the local PD as well. As we left the station, Henry turned to me, eyes full of regret. Melissa, I'm so sorry. I should have listened to you. Yeah, you should have, I agreed. But what's done is done. Now we need to focus on getting our money back. That night, we brainstormed with Tyler and Jasmine, trying to figure out a way to trap Derek and recover our funds. What if we set up a sting? Jasmine suggested. Pretend we got more money to invest. Tyler nodded enthusiastically. I could create some fake bank statements to make it look legit. It was risky, but what choice did we have? We coordinated with Officer Martinez, setting everything up for the next day. I barely slept that night, my mind racing with what ifs. What if Derek saw through our plan? What if we couldn't get the money back? The next morning, Henry and I met Derek at a crowded campus coffee shop. We were wired up, both with hidden mix and sheer nerves. As we sat down, Derek flashed his usual charming grin. So you got more to invest? He asked, eyes gleaming with anticipation. Henry nodded, sliding over the fake bank statements. Yeah, we managed to get a loan from our parents. We're all in. I watched Derek's eyes light up with greed, my stomach churning. Just as he reached for the documents, Officer Martinez, who had been waiting in the wings, stepped forward. Derek Carlson, you're under arrest for fraud and theft by deception. The look of utter shock on Derek's face was almost worth all the stress, almost. As the officers cuffed him and led him away, Henry turned to me looking lost. What now? He asked, his voice barely above a whisper. I sighed, the weight of everything we'd been through pressing down on me. Now we pick up the pieces, and maybe learn to trust each other again. The days following Derek's arrest were a blur. We spent hours at the police station, giving statements and recounting every interaction we'd had with him. As it turned out, we weren't his only victims, not by a long shot. You two did good, Detective Johnson told us one afternoon. Thanks to your evidence, we've linked Derek to at least a dozen other scams across 3 states. It was a small comfort, but it didn't solve our immediate problem. We were still short on tuition, and the next payment deadline was looming. To my surprise, Henry stepped up. I'll get a job too if I have to. I'll make this right, Melissa. I wanted to believe him, but trust was hard to come by these days. Actions speak louder than words, and Henry knew that. True to his promise, he started working at the campus bookstore and picked up weekend shifts at a local restaurant. Meanwhile, I threw myself into my studies, spending late nights in the library. Tyler often joined me, and I found myself looking forward to his company. "You're killing it in econ," he said one night, glancing at my latest test score. "I guess all this drama hasn't hurt your GPA. It's given me something to focus on, I guess." Henry, on the other hand, was struggling. Between juggling work and trying to catch up on his classes, he looked perpetually exhausted. One day, he caught me in the hallway. "Hey, want to grab coffee? Like old times?" he asked, hopeful. Part of me wanted to say yes, to pretend everything was back to normal. But I couldn't. "I've got a study group," I lied. "Maybe another time." The hurt in his eyes was obvious, but I walked away. It wasn't that I didn't love him, he was still my twin. But the trust we'd once shared felt shattered, almost beyond repair. I had come to college expecting to conquer the world with Henry by my side, but now I felt more independent than ever, and more alone. Despite everything, I was still standing. I'd uncovered a fraud, helped bring a criminal to justice, and managed to keep my academic career on track. It wasn't the freshman year I'd imagined, but maybe it was the one I needed. We had a long way to go, but maybe, just maybe, we could find our way back to being family again. For now, though, I had a future to focus on. My future, and for the first time in my life, it felt like enough. Hi, I'm Mary. I'm 18 and a senior in high school. Up until recently, life was pretty decent, just me and my dad, James. Ever since my mom passed a few years back, he's been my rock, and I've been his. He's always encouraged my dreams of becoming a journalist, one who takes down corruption and fights for the truth. But then Jennifer showed up. Dad met her at some work event, and suddenly, everything shifted. She's divorced with a son named Andrew, who's 16 and about as charming as a wet sock. At first, I tried to be cool about it. Dad deserved to be happy. But something about Jennifer got under my skin. She was always cozying up to Dad, laughing at his every joke, giving me these fake, sugary smiles that never reached her eyes. "Mary, sweetie," she'd say, "you don't mind if I rearrange the living room, right? James says you're so easygoing." I'd just grit my teeth and nod. "Whatever makes you feel at home, Jennifer." But it didn't stop there. Before I knew it, Dad was talking about marriage. "Don't you think this is moving a little fast, Dad?" I asked, trying to be reasonable. He just shrugged it off. "When you know, kiddo. Jennifer makes me happy." The wedding was a blur. One minute, I was trying to be a supportive daughter. The next, I was watching Dad smash cake into the face of a woman I barely knew. Things got tense fast. I hear Jennifer and Dad arguing late at night. "James, we need a bigger place," she'd say. "This house is too small for 4 people. But Dad was firm. "We can't afford it right now, honey. Maybe in a few months." Her response was always the same. "Well, something has to give. Andrew needs his own space." I tried to ignore it, until one night, Dad knocked on my door, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. "Mary, honey, we need to talk." My stomach sank. "What's up, Dad?" He couldn't even look me in the eye. "Jennifer and I think it might be best if you moved into the guest room. Just temporarily, of course." I felt like I'd been punched. "You want me to give up my room for Andrew?" Dad tried to explain he's not adjusting well, and Jennifer thinks. Oh, so it's what Jennifer thinks now. All I could do was nod numbly. "Fine, whatever. I'll move my stuff tomorrow." As Dad left, I heard Jennifer downstairs. "See, James, I told you she'd understand." Moving into the guest room felt like exile. My things barely fit, and the walls felt like they were closing in on me. Meanwhile, Andrew moved into my old room as if he owned the place. "Hey sis, thanks for the upgrade," he smirked, rushing past me in the hallway. I bit my tongue hard. "It's Mary, not sis, and you're welcome, I guess." Jennifer seemed to be driving a wedge between Dad and me on purpose. Every time I tried to talk to him, she'd pop up. "James, honey, didn't you say you'd fix the leaky faucet today?" And just like that, any moment I had with Dad would vanish. Andrew's behavior was getting stranger by the day. He'd come home at odd hours, eyes red, muttering something about study groups. His moods were all over the place, laughing one second, snapping the next. I couldn't focus on school. My grades started slipping. One of my teachers pulled me aside after class. "Mary, is everything okay? This isn't like you." I just shrugged. "I'm fine. Just distracted." At lunch, I finally spilled everything to my best friend Zoe. "Something's not right with Andrew," I told her. "He's always sneaking around, and I swear I smelled weed in the bathroom the other day." Zoe's eyes widened. "Mary, I didn't want to say anything, but I've seen him hanging out with Jake's crew behind the gym." My stomach dropped. Jake's group was known for drugs and trouble. "Are you serious? Does my dad even know who he's let into our house?" Zoe shook her head. "I doubt it. Andrew's the type to play nice in front of the parents." I knew I had to do something, but Dad was too wrapped up in his honeymoon phase with Jennifer to see it. "I need to find out what Andrew's really up to," I said, determination hardening in my voice. Zoe looked at me, her expression full of worry. "Be careful, Mary. This could backfire big time." But I was done being careful. This was my home, my family, and I wasn't about to let Andrew and Jennifer tear it apart. I decided to count my savings from my part-time job at the diner, hoping I put away enough for emergencies. But as I counted, I felt a chill. I was missing $100. I'd been so careful, hiding my cash in different spots around my room. Someone had found it. Late that night, I heard a creak outside my door. I held my breath, heart pounding. Slowly, the door opened, and I saw Andrew's silhouette in the darkness. That's when I snapped. "What the hell are you doing?" I hissed, flipping on the light. Andrew jumped, eyes wide. I was just looking for more money to steal. I accused, stepping closer. His surprised expression turned cold. "So what if it was? What are you going to do about it?" "I'm telling Dad, you little thief." Before I could react, Andrew grabbed my arm, his grip painful. "You're not telling anyone. Got it? You have no idea what I'm dealing with." I yanked my arm away. "Oh yeah? Why don't you enlighten me?" He looked away, his voice cracking. "You think it's easy moving to a new town, new school, living with little Miss Perfect." Realization dawned on me. "You're using the money for drugs." Andrew let out a bitter laugh. "Bingo. Give the girl a prize." I felt sick. "Andrew, this is serious. You need help." "I don't need anything from you," he spat. "If you breathe a word of this to anyone, I'll make your life hell." As he stormed out, I sank to the floor, overwhelmed. What was I supposed to do? The next few days at school, I kept an eye on Andrew, noticing his bloodshot eyes and jittery demeanor. His behavior was spiraling, and it was only a matter of time before things got worse. A classmate pulled me aside one day, looking shaken. "Mary, you should have seen it." We were in English, and Andrew just flipped out. Knocked his desk over and started yelling at Mrs. Johnson right in her face. Said, "Who cares about Shakespeare?" Never seen him snap like that before. I tried to swallow my anxiety, but then an announcement crackled over the PA. "Attention students, please remain in your classrooms. We will be conducting a routine locker check." My stomach dropped. I knew what they find in Andrew's locker. An hour later, I was called to the principal's office. Mr. Harmon's expression was grim. "Mary, I understand Andrew is your stepbrother." I nodded, my mouth dry. "We found illegal substances in his locker. Given the amount, we have reason to believe he may be dealing." I gasped, shocked. "Dealing? No, he's just using." I stopped, realizing what I just admitted. Mr. Harmon leaned forward. "Mary, what do you know about this?" So I told him everything, the stealing, the mood swings, the threats. By the end, I was shaking. Mr. Harmon sighed. "Thank you for your honesty. Unfortunately, given the severity of the situation, we'll need to involve the police and Child Protective Services." My head spun. "The police?" "I'm sorry, Mary, but this is beyond the school's jurisdiction now. We'll need to contact your parents immediately." As I left the office on shaky legs, I saw Andrew being escorted out by 2 officers. Our eyes met for a brief moment, and in his gaze, I saw anger, fear, and something else. Desperation. I slumped against the wall, feeling my world crumble. How had it come to this? And how was I going to face my dad? Later that night, police cruisers pulled up to our house, lights flashing. From my window, I watched as 2 officers approached the front door. My dad answered, confusion etched on his face. Mr. Thompson, we need to speak with you and your son, Andrew. Dad's voice shook. What's this about? Sir, we have a warrant to search the premises. Your son was found in possession of illegal substances at school. I saw the color drain from Dad's face as he let them in. Jennifer came rushing down the stairs, eyes wide. What's going on, Andrew? The next hour was a blur. Police searched Andrew's room, uncovering more drugs and stolen cash. Andrew sat sullen and handcuffed, being questioned in the living room while I watched it all unfold, feeling like I was in some twisted movie. Dad turned to me, his eyes pleading. Mary, did you know about this? Before I could answer, Jennifer cut in, her voice dripping with accusation. Of course she knew. She's probably the one who ratted him out, always jealous of Andrew, weren't you? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Are you kidding me? Andrew's been stealing from me for months. He even threatened me when I caught him. Dad's head whipped around. He what? And just like that, everything came pouring out. The theft, the threats, and the way Jennifer had been treating me. Dad listened, his face growing darker with each revelation. Why did he tell me? He asked, his voice breaking. Would you have believed me? I shot back. You've been so wrapped up in your new family, you didn't even notice what was happening. Jennifer screeched. This is ridiculous, James. Are you really going to let her talk to me like that after everything we've done for her? But something had shifted in Dad's eyes. He looked at Jennifer as though seeing her for the first time. What you've done for her, he asked quietly, you've made her feel unwelcome in her own home, pushed her out of her room, undermined our relationship, and ignored the fact that your son was spiraling out of control. Jennifer's face contorted with rage. How dare you? This is all her fault. If she hadn't been such a little. Enough, Dad roared. I had never heard him yell like that before. He turned to the officers. I think you have what you need. Please take Andrew into custody. As they led Andrew out, he shot me a glare. Hope you're happy now, sis. Jennifer grabbed her purse, her expression twisted with anger. If you're choosing her over us, we're done. Don't bother calling. And with that, she stormed out. Just like that, they were gone, leaving the house in silence. The weight of everything that had happened settled over us like a heavy blanket. Dad and I stood there, neither of us knowing what to say. Finally, he spoke, his voice thick with emotion. Mary, I'm so sorry. I've been a terrible father. I wanted to stay angry to make him feel the hurt and neglect I had felt. But seeing him so broken, I couldn't do it. You really have, Dad. He nodded, tears in his eyes. I know, I got so caught up in trying to create this perfect new family that I forgot about the amazing one I already had. Can you ever forgive me? I took a deep breath. It's going to take time, Dad. A lot of time. We talked for hours that night, really talked for the first time in months. We spoke about Mom, our fears, and how we drifted apart. By the end, we were both emotionally drained. I said slowly, I think I need some space to process everything. Dad looked pained but nodded. I understand. What do you want to do? Can I stay with Aunt Sarah for a while? Just to finish out senior year. Of course, sweetheart. Whatever you need. The next few months were a whirlwind. Moving in with Aunt Sarah, focusing on school, and slowly rebuilding my relationship with Dad. He started therapy, working through his grief over Mom and his guilt over what had happened with Jennifer and Andrew. And slowly, Dad and I began to mend. It wasn't perfect, and things weren't the same as before, but he was trying. He visited regularly, always respecting my boundaries, showing me he was committed to making things right. I knew we still had a long way to go, but we were on the right path. The story of Mary, her father, and their fractured family has come to an end. Now I have a question for you. If you were in Mary's shoes, would you have forgiven your father? Or do you think some betrayals are too deep to truly move past? Share your thoughts in the comments below.
I'm Jack, 28, living in a cramped Detroit apartment. Life was finally looking up. I just landed my dream job at a top-tier tech company. I was on cloud 9, thinking everything was falling into place. Then, out of the blue, I get this call that turns my world upside down. Jack, it's about your parents. My aunt's voice trembles on the other end. They're both really sick. It's bad. Everything stops. I rush to their house, and it's a nightmare. Mom can barely lift a glass of water, and Dad's struggling just to make it to the bathroom. As I stand there, it hits me. I have to step up. But what about my job? My future? I call my brother, Henry, thinking surely he'll step in. Hey, Henry, it's Jack. Have you heard about Mom and Dad? Yeah, tough break, he says, sounding distracted. I've got a meeting in 5. Can we talk later? Henry, they need round-the-clock care. I'm thinking of taking a leave from work. Whoa, slow down there, hero, he cuts in. I've got my own family to deal with. I'm swamped here in Leh. I'm floored. So, that's it? You're not going to help at all? Look, I'm sure you've got it covered. Gotta run. And just like that, he's gone, leaving me staring at my phone, feeling sucker punched. As I settle into this new role as a caregiver, memories of growing up hit me hard. Mom and Dad worked their fingers to the bone just to keep us afloat. Dad pulled double shifts to buy us school supplies, while Mom patched up old clothes to make them last another year. Henry was always Henry. I remember one Christmas when I was about 10. Our parents had managed to get us each one decent gift. I got a science kit I'd been dreaming of, and Henry got the latest video game console. You'd think he'd be thrilled, but no. This isn't even the Pro version, he whined. Jimmy's parents got him the Pro. I can still see the hurt in Mom's eyes. Dad just sighed and said, "Maybe next year, son." Now, as I watch my parents struggle with even the simplest tasks, those memories sting even more. I'm putting my entire life on hold, while Henry's living it up in Leh. Jack, sweetie, Mom calls weekly from her bedroom. Can you help me with my pills? Coming, Mom. I holler back, shoving thoughts of Henry aside. I have more important things to focus on. My parents need me, and I'll be damned if I let them down like Henry has. As I help Mom with her medication, I wonder, how did I end up as the sole caregiver while Henry gets to live his best life? But then I see Mom's grateful smile, and I know I'm doing the right thing. It's going to be tough, but I'm in this for the long haul. Henry may have forgotten what family means, but I sure as hell haven't. 2 years in, my life's become a never-ending loop of doctor visits and pill organizers. I'm working part-time at Joe's corner store just to keep the lights on. My savings? Gone. That promising career? Feels like a distant dream now. Jack, your shift starts in 20. Joe calls out as I rush in, still in yesterday's wrinkled clothes. Sorry, Joe. Dad had a rough night. I'll be ready in 5. I'm stocking shelves when my phone buzzes. Another reminder to call Henry. I've lost count of how many times I've reached out, begging for help. Henry, it's Jack. Look, I know you're busy, but... Jack, now's not a good time, he interrupts. We're renovating the kitchen. You wouldn't believe how much custom cabinetry costs these days. I bite my tongue. Mom and Dad have been asking about you. Maybe you could visit, or at least give them a quick call. Sorry, bro. Big deal coming up at work. I gotta focus. Maybe next month. Click. It's always next month, always an excuse. Later that night, as I'm helping Dad to bed, my phone pings with a social media notification. I usually ignore these, but something catches my eye. It's Henry, on a yacht. I start scrolling, and my blood boils. There he is in Paris, skiing in Aspen, showing off his new sports car, all posted in the last few months. Big deal at work, my ass, I mutter under my breath. Everything okay, son? Dad asks, noticing my scowl. Yeah, Dad. Just work stuff. Don't worry about it. But I can't let it go. The next day, during my lunch break, I call Henry. No more Mr. Nice Guy. You lied to me, I snap as soon as he answers. Whoa, what's your problem? He responds, unfazed. Cut the crap, Henry. I saw your posts. Paris, yachts, luxury cars. Meanwhile, I'm here, working my ass off, watching our parents deteriorate day by day. There's a pause, then a chuckle. Oh, that. Come on, Jack, you know how social media is. It's all for show. For show? Are you kidding me? I'm drowning here, Henry. I've asked for your help countless times, and you always have an excuse. Meanwhile, you're living it up like some big shot. Look, he says, his voice turning cold. I've worked hard for what I have. It's not my fault you chose to play the martyr. Martyr? They're our parents, Henry. And I'm sure they're very grateful, he says, his tone dripping with sarcasm. In fact, I bet that's why you're doing all this, isn't it? Trying to secure your place in the will. I'm stunned, speechless. How dare he? That's what I thought, he continues. Listen, I've got a real job to get back to. Some of us have actual responsibilities. The line goes dead. I stand there, phone in hand, shaking with rage. How did my brother become such a heartless bastard? Jack, your break ended 10 minutes ago. Joe calls from the back. I take a deep breath, trying to compose myself. Sorry, Joe. I'm coming. As I head back to work, I can't shake the anger, the hurt. But mostly, I feel a deep, gnawing disappointment. The brother I once looked up to is gone, replaced by someone I barely recognize. I'm left wondering how much more I can take before I break. Another year crawls by, and I watch helplessly as Mom and Dad slip away. Dad's the worst off, confined to his bed, his once strong voice now barely a whisper. Jack, he calls out one evening, his breath labored. We need to talk. I lean in close, holding his frail hand. What is it, Dad? Your mother and we've made a decision about the house and our savings. My heart skips a beat. I've never cared about their money, but after everything. What do you mean? We're leaving it all to Henry, he says, eyes searching mine for understanding. The room spins. But Dad, I don't understand. We worry about Henry. Mom chimes in from her chair, her voice weak but firm. You've always been the responsible one, Jack. You'll be okay. But Henry, he needs this safety net. I want to scream, to tell them about Henry's lies, his lavish lifestyle. But looking at Dad's sunken face, the words die in my throat. I understand. I manage to choke out. Dad squeezes my hand weakly, smiling. You're a good son, Jack. Weeks later, Dad's gone. I throw myself into caring for Mom, pushing down the hurt and betrayal. But she fades fast, following Dad just months later. The day of Mom's funeral arrives, and I'm standing by her grave, emotionally and physically drained, when I hear a familiar voice. Well, if it isn't the prodigal son. I turn to see Henry, looking completely out of place in his designer suit. You actually showed up, I say, too tired to hide my bitterness. Had to make sure everything was in order, he replies, glancing around. Speaking of which, the house is a mess. Didn't you take care of anything while you were playing nurse? I clench my fists, anger rising. I was a little busy keeping our parents alive, Henry. He shrugs. Well, no need to worry about that anymore. I'm selling the place. I already have a few interested buyers. Selling? But Henry, that's our childhood home. It's all we have left of them. Correction, he says coldly. It's all I have left of them. Or did you forget about the will? The casual cruelty in his voice stuns me. So that's it. You're just going to erase everything. Our memories, our history. Oh, spare me the sentimental crap, Henry scoffs. It's just a house. And frankly, I could use the cash. My portfolio took a hit last quarter. I stare at him, this stranger wearing my brother's face. What happened to you, Henry? When did you become this? He straightens his tie, looking annoyed. I grew up, Jack. Maybe you should try it sometime. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a flight to catch. I expect the house cleared out by the end of the month. As he turns to leave, I call out, desperation seeping into my voice. They loved you, you know. Right until the end, they worried about you. For a moment, he pauses. I think I see a flicker of something, regret, shame, but then it's gone, replaced by his usual smirk. Lucky me, he says, not bothering to look back as he walks away. I'm left standing there, surrounded by fresh graves and wilting flowers, feeling utterly lost. 3 years of my life, countless sacrifices, all for this. No job, no savings, and now, no home. As the reality of my situation sinks in, a mix of emotions I've never felt before hits me. A cocktail of grief, rage, and a burning desire for justice. Or maybe something darker. Revenge. One thing's for sure, I'm done being the good son. It's time Henry learns that actions have consequences. And I'll be damned if I let him walk away from this unscathed. So, there I am, mid-30s, no job, no home, crashing on my buddy Dave's couch. Every morning, I'm firing off job applications like my life depends on it. Because, well, it kind of does. Any luck? Dave asks one morning, finding me hunched over my laptop. Not yet, but I'm not giving up, I reply, hitting send on another application. Then, out of the blue, my phone rings. It's Sarah, an old colleague from my engineering days. Jack, I saw your application. We have an entry-level position at my startup. It's not much, but I'll take it, I interrupt, not even caring about the details. From day one, I throw myself into the work. Late nights, early mornings, whatever it takes. My experiences caring for mom and dad gave me a unique perspective on problem solving. And before I know it, I'm climbing the ranks. But then, one day, everything changes. I'm in a meeting when my phone starts blowing up with notifications. There's Henry's face plastered all over the news. Prominent businessmen involved in major fraud scheme, the headlines scream. Before I can process it, there's a knock at the office door. 2 stern-faced individuals in suits introduce themselves as federal agents. Mr. Johnson, we need to ask you some questions about your brother Henry. For a split second, I consider covering for him. He's still my brother after all. But then I remember everything. The lies, the neglect, the betrayal. What do you want to know? I ask, my voice steady. I tell them everything. Henry's neglect of our parents, his lies about his financial situation, his lavish spending while I struggled. It feels like a weight lifting off my chest. Weeks later, I watch on TV as Henry is led away in handcuffs, charged with multiple counts of fraud. His assets are frozen, his reputation in tatters. I hear through the grapevine that his wife's left him, taking the kids. Just when I think it's all over, I get a call from Mrs. Rodriguez, our old neighbor. Jack, your mother, she left something for you, a safety deposit box. She changed her will at the last minute. Inside the box, I find a letter and Mom's old locket, the one she always said was just worthless costume jewelry. My dear Jack, the letter reads, if you're reading this, I'm gone. I know we hurt you by leaving everything to Henry, but I couldn't let you walk away empty-handed. This locket, it's been in our family for generations. It's worth more than you know. Use it wisely, and know that we always saw your sacrifice. We love you. Fast forward a few months, and I'm standing on a stage at a charity gala. My company's latest project, an ad-driven elderly care system, is being unveiled. This technology, I say into the microphone, is dedicated to every child who's ever cared for a parent, to every family struggling to provide dignity in their loved one's final years. As I scan the audience, my eyes land on a familiar face. Henry, out on bail, looking like he's aged a decade. Our eyes meet for a moment, but I don't linger. Instead, I turn back to the audience, to the future I'm building with integrity, innovation, and compassion. The applause washes over me as I step off the stage. For the first time in years, I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Henry, the betrayal, the struggles, they are all part of my past now. And me? I'm focused on the bright future ahead. Sometimes, justice has a way of serving itself. Now, I've got a question for you. If you were in Jack's shoes, would you have told the authorities everything about Henry's past behavior, or would you have protected your brother despite his betrayal? Think about it. Family loyalty versus doing what's right. Where do you draw the line? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.